making another video to continue my videos of my process of self-healing. Slightly different venue this time. I'm out at my mum's with more books and things. And I've been reading this book a bit here, The Whispering Pond. Outstanding academic book choice 1997, personal guide to the emerging vision of science, and there's whole sections in here talking about near-death experiences. You know, maybe people have heard of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross or Raymond Moody or different prominent characters and stuff who've gone into and written numerous books probably about these subjects, so you can refer to them for academic credentials in relation to these things. I'm just mentioning them in passing because I picked this book up and found a section in it that really spoke to me on lots of different levels, which is what happens often with me with books. And yeah, but I'm not here to talk about books. I've got my guitar with me, my trusted guitar that's travelled around the world with me, doing very low-key grassroots gigs in places that very few people, most people fear to tread. You know, these outlandish, grassroots festivals where there's all these people that actually sit around in circles, actually talking to each other openly and freely without judging each other, and coming to incredible understandings of life beyond the general norm of things. Anyway, maybe those days are numbered now, since we're now living in a medical dictatorship and voices are squashed and sides are taken and all the rest of the stuff that goes along with it. So yeah, my mum's had the 2 jabs herself. Yeah, but she still thinks the way things are being run herself, she thinks it's a bit too communistic. Her words. Particularly, well, we've had discussions, and where's that other fabulous book? I think that's Through in the Kitchen, to do with the different views of germ theory or terrain theory. But there was a fascinating section at the beginning of that one which talks about Florence Nightingale, and that certainly takes us back a couple centuries. So yeah, all depends on which books you read, and there used to be books from all viewpoints that were given notable prominent positions on bookshelves, but nowadays everything's come back to it being a bit more don't really have words for it now, actually, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, this is a tune that I've been enjoying playing. It's a spontaneous tune, so every time I play it, it's not exactly the same. Sort of starts off finding itself, and then eventually, well, so far anyway, and then see what happens. Basically, it's that sort of tune. But I've recorded a part of the tune on this old phone device, which is now just a recording device, and then I play the other bit on the actual guitar. So yeah, but I've thought about actually calling this tune The Whispering Pond, because it just makes sense. So yeah. Very nice and relaxing. Doesn't have a set way of being played. It can be played spontaneously, therefore meaning each time you play it's different. You get a slightly different feeling of similar sounding tune. It's not set in its ways, it's more spontaneous. It's more organic. It's definitely, I think, my preferred way of playing, really. Maybe that's a bit too unusual. Anyway, that was again a different version. I've probably played it a few times myself, and I've shared it maybe with a few people, 2 or 3 people. So it's definitely a tune I've shared more. I even tried it out on the new electric amp and stuff. So potentially that part I was playing there may be better on the electric over the acoustic on the background. Yeah, and then well, I certainly find it relaxing. I mean, I find the music relaxing. Still, it's fascinating. I definitely have become far more comfortable speaking to a camera than I used to be. Even though a camera isn't an audience, the camera itself represents the audience or a potential future audience. So one still has to have that in mind. However, playing the guitar, again, even with a camera, still completely different experience than how I was playing it for my mum earlier. I felt completely relaxed, you know, like I was sharing something very special for my mum with my mum, and that was beautiful and unique, and only my mum will have heard that version. So obviously I still have hurdles to get over in regards to music and sharing it on videos for other people. However, that's all just secondary nonsense, really, to be perfectly honest. It is what it is. So this section in this book talks about mysteries and the manifestations of the mind. It talks about long-term memory, short-term memory, neuronal networks. It talks about childhood memories, talks about psychologists, psychotherapists, all the different stuff I've been relating to in relation to my own personal experiences and my own healing journey for the last couple of years, which is pre-existing to the whatever's going on throughout our lives, you know. But this paragraph here I found particularly, well, I guess I found it particularly this way because it's part of my experience. And it's to do with, well, just how much information apparently can be stored in our brains. You know, this mysterious thing called long-term memory compared to short-term memory. So here we go. There are now fresh and seemingly more esoteric elements of long-term memory surfacing in the investigation of the so-called altered states of consciousness, and they've got that shown as ASC with a little s, asks. They like these three-letter names, eh? Of these, memory is a major component in both near-death experiences, NDEs, and in medically initiated and supervised regression analysis. These altered state experiences provide impressive testimony regarding the possibility of extremely long-term memory. The scope of such memory would be truly staggering. John von Neumann calculated that the amount of information an individual accumulates during his or her lifetime comes to about 2.8 times 10 to the 20. That is the number 2 and the number 8 with about 19 zeros after it. Bits, you know, measuring it in, like, I guess, computer orientated, technologically obsessed vocabulary. How could a 10 centimeter diameter brain hold that much information? Long-term memory is a major mystery. The evidence for it deserves a closer look. So anyway, that's just a wee bit of this, and it's just a wee section of the book that I was actually focusing upon. But obviously I found it very interesting because it mentions NDEs, and it talks about childhood memories, and psychotherapists, yeah, and trauma, and all different stuff that's completely relevant to my own personal experiences and my own life path. Excuse me. Even what influences what I play on my guitar, or how I'm creative based off of my own experiences, because generally speaking, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, people are creative based off of expressing their creativity. If they're a more, I guess you'd say, freer individual, based off of their own experiences and what inspires them, or what experiences have inspired them that they wish to then be creative with, in such a way as they can maybe somehow share that, or share the understanding of that, or hopefully share the ability for others to understand their experiences, so other people can understand who they are more truly than what maybe just meets the eye, or the surface level of people that generally is just, well, I guess when people don't really know you, it's just the surface level which they relate to, which is a bit of a shame, really. But again, that's all just nonsense, really, compared to really what's happening within our own psyches and our own personal experiences of life, and how we interpret our reality, and how that then leads to us making particular decisions. This is quite fascinating. This is yeah, sort of energy matrix. It's not usually got a hole drilled in the top, but I drilled a hole in the top. So I've been wearing this, and it does mention Tesla on the back of it, which is fun. And one of the massage therapy consultation massages I've received, I'm now on round 2 with my massages. Somebody actually recognised the symbol, or she had maybe been familiar with the symbol before, and she related it to finding your own path in life. Yeah, just yourself, finding your own path. So I've been enjoying wearing it. I've found, and my mum gave me it. She had one herself, and then I have another pal who lives nearby, and he's got one, interestingly.